calling to serve. As Christians, we're called to minister to others in many different aspects of our lives. Some of us, like myself, are called to go to college and make ministry a career, while others might have different plans for their future. But no matter your plans, it's never too late to get involved with a local church. So let's talk about why we should. Why should we serve in the church? Well, first, I feel we should serve in the church as an act of love towards others. God calls us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And when you're serving in a church community, you're given many different opportunities to show love to someone who just might need it. John 13:35 and says, "By this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." Did you get that? If you love one another, you will be known as God's disciples, or as Jesus's disciples. That's what God calls us to do, is to show love. And what a better way to do it than serving in a church, than serving in an area that not only shows love to others, but that helps God and helps bring others closer to God. And I feel that we should serve because God calls us to. William Holt said in his book that we are his workmanship and we were created for one single purpose, to do his good works. And that's just something crazy for me to think about, because this is a God who can snap his fingers at any moment and make anything happen. But instead, he calls us to do it for him. He wants us to love the way that he loves, and he wants us to serve the way that he serves, because he made us in his image. So he also calls us to do the works that he does. And we should not be ignoring that call. We should pick it up. We want to bring others closer to God, and that's another reason we should be serving. Mark 16:15 says, "And he said to them, 'Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation.'" That is our assignment in life. God has given us all of that assignment to go tell everyone the good news of Jesus so that we can bring others closer to God. We are kingdom builders, as Pastor Jeremy Ulmer says. We are kingdom builders. Anytime that we minister to people it adds a brick to the kingdom of God. And I find that as such a great way to put it, because the small things matter. Every little thing that you do that is serving someone else in a way that is loving adds a brick to the kingdom of God. God made us to be kingdom builders. He made us to go spread the world, to go spread the word. So, how can we start serving in the church? Well, first, I feel it'd be important to start by reaching out with your pastors and other leaders in the church, because these type of people will be able to get you to the next step. Like, if you know where you want to serve and you know that you want to serve, when you go to them asking to serve, they'll make sure that you go exactly where you need to be. They'll help you out with the next few steps needed to start serving in the church. But I feel before you decide on where you want to serve, you should pray and ask God about it, because after all, you're serving him. So it's important that you're serving in an area that he's calling you to, and even if it is out of your comfort zone. So serving also has a lot of benefits, and let's talk about that. One of them, which is the biggest one, is that we become more like Jesus when we serve. In the New Testament, we're told that Jesus didn't come to be served, he came to serve. There's even a verse where Jesus is scrubbing his disciples' feet and washing them, serving them out of love. And that's what God calls us to do. He calls us to reflect his image, because we're made in his image. So we should be serving in a church to love on others in the same way. Pastor Jeremy said that it makes us more like him, which is the goal of maturity in the life of a believer. As a believer, we're constantly working on building our relationship with God, on building our relationship with others, and improving ourselves. And the maturity ultimately is becoming more like God and becoming more Christ-like. And when we serve, we become more like him, which is our goal. It makes us grow in relationship as others as well, or with others as well. Pastor Jeremy said, again, "I think some of our greatest relationships are the people that we work with." When you work with someone, it's just a completely different kind of bond than the bond you have with a friend that you used to hang out with. And when you're actually doing the works of ministry, it demands communication. You know, communication is what all relationships are built on, and so is working with a common goal. So when you're serving the church with others in a community, you grow in relationship with them, but this relationship isn't like other relationships because the foundation is that one common ground, that one common goal. Y'all are both working towards God. Y'all are both trying to benefit God and bring others closer to Him. You're serving. And when a relationship like that is founded by God, it's unbreakable. So the kind of bonds that you get when you're serving are bonds that could last for lifetimes. And sadly, Pastor Jeff Ulmer informed me that only 20% of the church does 80% of the work, while the other 80% does 20%. And it may be that way in work environments and school and a whole bunch of other different environments, but I feel God doesn't call just 20% of us to serve to others. I think He calls 100% of us. So with that being said, are you going to pick up the phone or are you going to let it ring?